What's up, KJ Noise? If you haven't seen my past two reviews, check them out. Let me know what you think of the remake to Pet Cemetery 2019, stuff like that. I gave my details on why it was bad. It definitely goes in that list of like a remake to Candyman and Desperation for sure. It's just awful. I wouldn't go back to watch again. Beyond, just to be real. Can't lie. It was a horrible movie. That's why I put it on the list with Desperation and Candyman. Cinematography was decent, but the fact that the girl was the one who experienced all that this time made it less impactful because the child actor was at least innocent enough of a story for us to feel bad, you know. Because of how innocent and young he was. Felt bad for him. TBH. Like Rambo Ralph said, it's definitely boring. It was definitely a boring movie. No lie. Between minor jump scares and shit like that. In a way it started. Such and such. I've got so many complaints about the movie. I can complain about. And yeah, some of the wait. Yeah, the actors are good. Lithgow, other guy, they did okay, but so I like the actor. But Pet Cemetery 2019 was awful. Horrible movie. You never watch ever again. I gamed majority of the day yesterday. By the way, my KJ and weights. So that was majority of my time spent on the game. Basically. I want to watch a classic later. I'm talking a fire ass movie with Stephen King's influence, obviously. Stephen King marathon continues. That's the director he's been watching for over a few weeks now. Can say. Love his body of work. Can't lie. You will see what I watch. His farthest movies that go back to the 80s is Maximum Overdrive, and I done seen that. It was decent for what it was. I mean, Stephen King does good work. That's why I've been watching some of his content, you know? Plus, before you know it, we'll be in the month of Halloween, so I'm trying to get as many Halloween movies out of my system. You know, ahead of time.
And I hope you won't make me do that.
Somebody unsubbed to my channel, but that's okay. That's not gonna stop me from working and uploading content. We don't give up. Said it from day one, I'll say it again. I'm him when it comes to YouTube. Like, I'm one of the profound content creators in PA. Truly feel that. Like, I can be one of the biggest, like, I know that now. Like, it just takes one specific video to get me where I need to be on this platform. Skyrocket my channel. You know. With the fame comes badder beeps. I'm not gonna disrespect women. I'm not saying that. But with the fame, you gotta get used to that, because with the fame comes badder girls in this industry. You know what I mean? So that's something you'll just have to come and get accustomed to, basically, because that shit happens. My dad told me, like, me being all good looking and shit, you gonna have girls always on your trail. I lost my shit at 20, no, 19. 19. First had my thing touched in the woods. I was mad young. I couldn't even remember how young. So I've been doing this, but there was a point in time where I wasn't worried about women or having women on my mind. As I got older, I started to get curious about relationships and shit like that. I noticed. It's when we're younger, we don't really worry about it. I've had crushes, but they weren't liking me back when I was younger and shit like that, y'all. Sorry if I changed the whole subject from the horror film to what age I was and stuff and all that when it comes to girls. But yeah, I just wanted to let that be known that I've been doing this stuff a lot longer than people would expect, you know? Oh, I'm only 23 years old, but been in the game a while. I got a young start for most of the shit I did in life. Most of the stuff I've done, I started real young at, so. Love this fate. We gonna go up on YouTube. Mark my words. One way or another, one day or another, this channel will go up. Know what I mean? There's a lot of good Stephen King movies I bet I haven't seen, really. I've seen a lot of new ones recently. The Dark Tower. I remember the premise, but ultimately being bored by it. See, when we're upset at how bad a movie is, it's not because of the actors or them trying to do their job. Half the time, like I've said before, it's the script. It's what they're given to work with. It's this and that. It's not the actors or actresses. Sometimes, to be 100% transparent, it can be if the acting's wanting and the acting isn't as believable as we think it should be. If it's at that point, what's the point of watching a movie if we're getting acting that's so subpar that you can go to the local supermarket, right, and probably get a better acting gig out of that rather than what you're viewing on the screen. So a lot of the time, actresses and actors just don't do it, or they're script they're given isn't it. It's just not it for the actors or actors. Like the dialogue just isn't there. How do you expect the movie to be good with poorly written dialogue? The reason why I like Subspecies is because it's almost a perfect film for vampires. You know, you got a good cast of characters, you got good dialogue, you got all that. You got good death scenes. You got a love story that you believe. You know, that's what our complaint is at the time with movies like that. The love story actually in the most recent one, they split up. Radu ends up dead again, just like in all the other subspecies movies. As much as I'm a fan of like the body of work Robert Pattinson has done, Subspecies is far beyond more superior than Twilight. I like Twilight, but Subspecies for that time period was way, way ahead of the totem pole of horror movies. Well, Twilight wasn't really a horror movie, but it's more of a love story between vampire and a werewolf. It has to be chosen between. Bella Swan must choose between. Ultimately, she gets confused because she grew up with Jacob, but she chose to be with Edward and then such and such. Yes. What I like about Subspecies is Radu used his vampire powers, right, to, track Michelle, thus sending Michelle over to the other side, which made the story so natural and so interesting for that time period. It was a good movie, movie, classic series for that time period. You know, Radu will forever be embedded into my mind and those who grew up or those who watched Subspecies. Certain people probably forget that Twilight even happened, The legacy of a Twilight isn't gonna be as big and as remembered as Subspecies was. Anyways, I love you guys. Peace.